Hello and welcome to Ed Talk. This is the show that discusses topics that educationally impact our Nevada County schools. I'm your host, Scott Lay, Nevada County Superintendent of Schools. Today, I'm excited. We have with us in studio Katie Kohler,
Hi.
Superintendent Principal of the Chicago Park Elementary School District. Katie, thank you for taking time to drive up here to be on the show and talk about Chicago Park School.
Thank you so much for having me, Scott. This is delightful to talk about our sweet, amazing school.
It is. Well, I'll tell our audience, Chicago Park School is one of those hidden gems in Nevada County.
Yeah.
All of our schools are really good, whether you're looking at a traditional district or a charter school. We have some passionate educators, amazing schools, but I really like our little TK8 program here at Chicago Park. Beautiful site if you haven't been out to Chicago Park area. So we're going to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, exciting.
So let's just start. Chicago Park School, you've been there quite a while.
Yes, I have been there. I've actually, it's been 7 or 8 years. I can't even remember. It's been a while. Yeah.
You've been out there at the helm?
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it because it's just been such a joy, but it has been quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And you are a local product of Nevada
Yes.
County Schools, which I think is very cool.
Yep, I was born and raised in Nevada County. I grew up in South County and went through the Pleasant Ridge School District, and I loved the area and stayed.
Right, ended up teaching.
Yes.
You're at Union Hill, correct, and Chicago Park?
Yes, I taught at 1 year at Grass Valley Charter and a few years at Union Hill and a year at Chicago Park.
And then boom.
And then they put me in
Boom, you
administration.
got tricked and all of a sudden you were in administration trying to figure out what was going on. And Chicago Park School is a really neat school. It's a great area. It's right on the Immigrant Trail if you go down there. A lot of history in the area. How long has the school been there?
So our local site hasn't been as long as the whole school district.
The district itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
new site.
the school district opened in 1890, and then we moved to the new location in 1960.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, with there.
Yeah,
So
in the
been there quite a
60s.
while.
Yeah.
But great location up there on the hill, kind of,
It
looking
is.
out, very pretty, very quiet, perfect place to educate kids.
It is. I love the agriculture surrounding the school. It's very lush, a lot of wildlife. It's really delightful.
Yes.
Really
it is.
delightful
It is.
setting.
It's a very peaceful setting out
Yeah.
there. Number of students you have this year, what are you looking
We're
at?
up a little bit.
Where you at?
We're at 165,
Okay.
which is great. Our numbers have grown. A lot of families coming because they like the small school setting.
Right.
They like our class sizes, and they're also really into our agriculture program.
Which is great.
Which is really great,
It's great.
yeah.
It's really nice. Parents have an option when they come and you like that small school where everybody on campus gets to know you.
Yeah.
Then you've also got the option of, well, maybe you want to go to a Lyman Gilmore
Yeah,
or a
something
Magnolia where it's bigger.
Yeah.
And it works out. But I kind of tend to gravitate towards the little ones, the TK8s. And everybody knows everybody.
Yes.
You know the grandparents, you know the aunts, you know the uncles, they know you.
Yeah.
I think there's something pretty special about that.
Yeah, it makes a very tight community.
It does, and I think you perform better as a staff and as a student when you know the people at your school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
I'm there. Yeah. Well, having been there since 1890, second site you've been at, and over there in that nice location out there at Chicago Park School, you've been doing a lot. And I mean, I'm lucky. I've been around the county in schools for 33, 34 years here.
Yeah.
I've seen the schools change, and one thing that always strikes me every time I come out to your school is that it always looks better, and not that it looked bad before, but you're constantly making improvements in the educational delivery, whether the playground or the aesthetic look of the school, and it's just so welcoming. So what are some of the things that you're doing this year?
A lot.
Yeah.
I do. I always look at how can we improve, how can we grow. And I'm lucky I work for a board that also has that same vision, and they're like, let's do this, have some fun.
Yeah, you got a great school board out there.
Yes, very lucky. So we actually have changed a lot this year for our students. First thing is just in the classroom, we changed our ELA and math curriculum. So we're going with something a little more rigorous.
Our ELA is English Language Arts. I know, we do educational speak, but right? So you've changed that.
So we're looking for a little more rigor for our students. They seem to respond really well with that. So we changed that in the classroom. We are adding a new building this year. So we're in construction, actually. Our families came back. I do love our families, and they're very patient with us. But we are in the middle of construction. We're adding a new classroom. which is exciting. We were able to get some funding from the state. We got first round funding, which is
great.
huge.
And for our audience, that is quite a feather in your cap to get the first round, because
It's pretty
it's tough.
amazing. Yeah, and it's very competitive.
Yes.
So we were able to get that. So we're adding a classroom, and we're updating some of the facilities. Unfortunately, our school, being built in the 60s, had some asbestos. So we're getting a lot of that removed and just modernizing the campus with that.
Now, we should say the asbestos wasn't a danger to the students or
No,
staff, because
it's
it's
just
fine unless you disturb it.
Yeah, but still, we
And
wanted to
and as soon as you know it and disturb it,
Yeah.
you're doing project, then time to get rid of it, because I don't want everybody to go, oh my gosh, what's going
Yes.
on there? Right.
Yeah.
Now, this new building, what's it going to house?
It's going to be our TK
And I mean, your
classroom.
your TK.
So we've always had combination classes because
Right.
we're so small. And so last year, our TK was big enough that
Which is transitional kindergarten.
Yes.
It's the new grade level.
It's the new grade level.
Yeah.
So we've always had where kindergarten and TK were together. And so now they're separate.
Wow.
We have, I think it's 15 transitional kindergartners this year. It's insane. It's
That's a lot. That's
lovely.
great. Yeah,
Yes.
very nice.
And so they're getting their own classroom. It's beautiful, has bathrooms in it, it's a gorgeous building.
Right.
It really is. And it's lots of space for them, and
That's
right
great.
outside their playground, so they can just open the door and play
And they're
and
right
have
there.
a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing our audience certainly, I'm sure, don't know is that you can't just take a regular classroom and turn it into a transitional kindergarten classroom, can you?
No, they need bathrooms. I mean, they're little.
And they need
space.
an appropriate size bathrooms.
Yes.
Just like you can't take a transitional kindergarten and make it a
Yeah.
middle school class. It's just
Yeah.
not going to work. So everything needs to be lower. It needs to be,
Yes.
yeah.
And being in the ag community that we're in, our kids really thrive with hands-on. So that's our motto at our school. And so with transitional kindergarten, it's a lot of play-based education,
As
and
it
so
should
they
be, yeah.
need that space. So it's
Yeah.
it's a huge classroom for them to actually be able to play and build and
Yeah.
really learn.
We don't want to
do
put our
that.
transitional kindergartners in rows.
No.
No. And, and we've had a
No.
mix, especially at our small schools, the transitional kindergarten and kindergarten,
Yeah.
due to space and just due to small numbers to combine them. But
Yeah.
there's no one who really likes that, because it's very different for our TKers where our kindergartners are, as well as even when you look to first.
Yeah.
They're all in different places and need to move at their own pace. So it's fantastic. You've got this new site
I know.
for
it's
them. Very
great.
cool. And then some additional changes over there.
Yeah.
Cleaning things up.
And we added a art teacher this year, which is great.
nice.
Last year we hired a credentialed teacher just to focus on physical education, which has been fabulous for our students. And this year we added an art teacher, a credentialed art teacher. Yeah,
Wow.
so the kids have a dedicated time just to focus on art and their creativity.
Now using, I'm sure, some of your Prop 28 money.
Yes,
Although the
I do
amount of
appreciate that.
the amount of Prop 28 money our schools get, so our audience knows, is
Yeah.
not great. Some schools it's like $5,000, $8,000, which does not get you
Yes.
an art teacher, so you have to combo that with other funds.
Yeah, but it's really great.
But you
It's
got-
good
that's
for
really
the
wonderful.
kids. It's
That's
good
really
for the
nice to
kids.
have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have that person come in with that passion for art and teach the kids. That's great. You mentioned earlier about the agricultural community you've been in, and you grew up in agriculture yourself, and your
Yes.
kids are, and
Yeah.
and you really embraced that at Chicago Park as a whole staff, a board, you leading. So tell us about that, the different things you've done there on the campus, because
Yeah.
they're really cool that I've seen.
And it is a passion of mine. I was lucky enough to grow up on a 21-acre ranch, so everything on our table came from our land. So that's just something that was always ingrained in me as a young child. And so I think there's so much a child can gain from going and working on a farm and learning about health and nutrition, as well as healthy work habits. So we have a half-acre farm at Chicago Park that actually opened up last school year. We had a program, but it was quite popular.
Right.
So we didn't have enough room. So we had you have to go bigger.
Yeah.
So we did, and we added a beautiful greenhouse. We call it the chicken mansion we have for their chickens to
Not
live
just a
in.
chicken coop, but
It was
a
a chicken mansion.
Very nice.
And so it's a space that the kids go down every week. So every class is down there working.
So you got them all, from the littles to the bigs.
TK to eighth
to the eighth
grade. And
graders.
it's a very different experience.
Oh, yeah.
So the TKers, they're doing some, looking for bugs, insects, and learning about, how to plant a seed. Where our eighth graders, and actually our seventh and eighth graders, are actually harvesting herbs and making tea from it, and learning about how to cook with what they grow. And so it's lovely to see that the same experience, but with appropriate for the ages, which is just really nice for them.
That's great.
But it's been, I think, one of the best additions at our school is our half-acre farm. And the teachers go down, not just during garden time, they go down and have the kids read down there.
I've been down there. It's a very calming, great. It's like an outdoor classroom.
It is. Really and everything, when we designed it, everything had to be bigger so we can fit a whole class in it. So our greenhouse is quite massive. Right. But we can fit a whole class in it. Right. And it's lovely when it's raining. They're in there working and, in the soil. So it's lovely.
So you got chickens, you got eggs.
Yes, we have eggs.
Right, you got eggs out there. And do the kids learn about, taking donations for the eggs, and they learn about that process?
So they have, some of the kids have chores. So our 6th graders' chore is to collect eggs daily. Right. So they go and get the eggs and they bring them to me. They're very, very responsible. And so because
that's quite a walk from the egg mansion to your office.
It's my office.
They have to go up the hills and across the black.
Yes. Right. They have to go up some steps.
Yeah.
So we do, if you do a $5 donation to the school, you get a dozen eggs, which is kind of a fun thing for our parents. They love that, getting the eggs that the kids, actually they hatch the chickens. The 2nd graders, the 6th graders collect the eggs, and then it gets back to the school. So it's great. It's sweet.
That's great. Now, so besides the chickens and the eggs, what else is down there on the little farm? What do we got?
So we have a lot of rows, lots of crops. We have flowers, a little herb garden, vegetables, fruit. We have fruit trees. The goal is for the fruit trees to eventually harvest and the kids can eat. The kids have been sampling a lot of tomatoes. We have a lot of tomatoes right now. Yes, which is great. Because they had their first week of garden was this week. So it was, so there are lots of taste testing, which is really fun.
That's good. Now, do the kids, they go from the part where they're planting the seeds and then helping to irrigate and getting it to the point where there's fruit?
Yeah, so they had, last year was a lot of setup because we had to move locations. So they had to really be flexible with it. So they work in the old garden, which we actually donate to our preschool, to our new garden. So they actually set up the garden. They helped amend the soil. They learned about irrigation, timers, all of it, drip tape, the whole shebang. Designing it, looking at rows, how you grow in row crop form to get more production. Learning about pests. Unfortunately, we have gophers, which I know if you're a gardener, not a fan of gophers, but we have them, so they have to learn about that. So you're going to have some loss from either insect or animals, and so it's that part is really educational for them to learn all those pieces.
Right, and I think it's great when your kids go home and have a salad. They know exactly where it comes from.
No.
Which is amazing.
It's pretty crazy.
Some kids don't. They just think it comes from a plastic container and you get them at supermarkets. So I think it's so cool that a lot of our schools are able to bring that down to the whole process of planting the seed, the whole thing.
And trying different things. Like our kids made sauerkraut from scratch and then ate it.
Right, which
so our kindergartners were eating sauerkraut.
Not the normal thing kindergartners ask for, is it? Sauerkraut.
No,
but how cool, and they make it themselves.
They want to try it.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. Well, some other projects you've been doing out there, because I know it seems like every time I come out, you've got something else going on. I mean, we've been out there seeing your maker spaces.
Yes. I love our maker space. Yeah. That was my first baby, was the maker space.
And that's still going strong.
It's still going strong. We have 3D printers. We use it for our after-school program. Which is really great for the kids to build and explore and learn, the components of that engineering aspect. We added a new playground. That was actually a goal of mine, is the kids always wanted slides. Right. So we got them slides. And it was just needed some more fun things for them and options for them to do on the playground.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got that going on.
Archery, we added archery as well.
Which is, I know we've got several school districts.
doing
which at
archery.
First sounds like, what?
Yes.
But then you think, I did it as a kid at my school, and as long as I'm sure it takes a lot of work to get it set up to make sure you're
there's a lot of training.
Yes.
So you have, your staff have to be certified, and there's a lot of safety rules, of course, because you're
for good
class.
reason. Yes.
But there's a lot of math and science in archery, which is really great.
Yeah, the kids don't realize that, but there is physics, trajectory, math. Yeah, I mean force, and so it's very cool. They're learning that stuff. Much more fun to learn about those topics while shooting an arrow than sitting in a classroom reading out of a book.
Yes.
They're going to remember.
Oh, yeah.
what they did with the bow and arrow. The book in the classroom, maybe not.
Yeah.
But that's very cool. So a lot of that. Chicago Park also has sports teams.
Yes.
You've got,
Yeah,
I know our little schools. We've got our three littles,
know.
Clear Creek, Chicago Park, and Twin Ridges, but they field teams just like our bigger
Yes.
schools.
I know we have boys volleyball getting kicked off right now. They had their first practice yesterday. Cross country's going on.
Right.
And then in the winter we have girls volleyball, boys basketball, girls basketball, and track and field usually wraps up the year.
And that's
Yeah,
great.
it's fun.
And the
Yeah.
advantage at a little school is when you're on the team, you're playing.
You play a lot.
You play a lot.
And we don't
It's
have
great.
cuts.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Because who wants to play gets to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful. They get to be the big person on campus while they're 6th, 7th, and 8th grade years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very cool to do that. Yeah, and playing around there. What else? So, other things going on. We've talked about your farm. We've talked about sports.
Yeah.
We've talked Makerspace, the TK building, your new curriculum that you've got for English language arts and math.
Yeah.
I mean, those are all great things,
They
and
are great
they're not.
things.
I mean, you have to. You really have to work at those. You just don't do it.
Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah, you take time.
I'm very lucky though. The staff I work with, we're very much a team. There's not many of them, so
Right.
it makes it easy.
Well, how many
to sit
teachers
down.
are there?
Well, there's one per grade level, so
Okay.
that's 9, and then we have our specials, so about 11.
11
staff,
teachers,
yeah.
and then you've got some.
And then we have a special ed.
paraprofessionals.
Yeah, we have paraprofessionals, and we have a special ed director and teacher as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 admin on campus, myself and her. Yeah. So since it's so small, I mean, we're less than 30 staff total.
Right.
We can make decisions together.
Yeah.
Which is really lovely. So looking at things like our curriculum last year, teachers shared, we're not happy. I'm like, I'm not happy. So we looked at it and we're like, we need a change.
Right.
And so we talked about things, we saw curriculums,
Yeah.
it's a lot smoother and easier, I think, when you have a smaller site.
I found
of
the
that.
same thing when I was at Clear Creek. You could
Yeah.
all sit down and decide as a staff, this isn't working, or it's working, but not as well as we
Yeah.
want, and you can change it.
Yeah.
And Monday of the next week, you can implement and get everybody on board. That's
Yeah.
pretty amazing to do.
It is. And
Yeah.
they're such happy, nice people that work
They
at the
are.
school, which is, I'm very spoiled.
Well,
Very
I wouldn't
spoiled.
say you're spoiled. It's very nice because
Yeah.
when I walk on that campus, everybody's smiling. It's happy. You just get a really nice vibe
Yeah.
on the campus.
It is.
It's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
So looking ahead, we know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you, and you've always got some things in your head because what I really like
Yeah.
about you is you don't reach something you're satisfied. Oh, good, we're done now.
Yeah.
You get to that goal and you're like, great, well, I've taken care of these things. Now I'm moving on to this goal.
Yeah.
I want to make this better. So some things going on in your head that maybe
So-
even your staff don't know or board
Yeah.
don't know you're thinking of doing coming up.
There's lots. I have a huge list, but because there's always things you can improve on. We've by adding the new playground on our campus, we've noticed a huge amount of the community members coming and using it, which is so
That's
lovely
nice.
because
Yeah.
we are remote.
Right.
And so there's people there after school, there's people there on the weekends.
That's really good.
So one area we'd love to improve is our track and fields. It's beautiful. It's just a little dated, it needs a little bit of love. So that's on our list. We did add a disc golf course down there for the kids and for the
Nice.
community to use, but just we need to,
Right.
bring it back to life a little
Right.
bit. And so that's on our list. And then just beautifying the campus. I think the campus is beautiful, but there's
Yeah.
always places to improve.
Yeah.
And so always looking at that, like just areas that we can add some landscaping. If you haven't been out there, the Chicago Park School is landscaped. It's just absolutely gorgeous. We were lucky with our local garden club, did the front of our school, Chicago Park
really
Garden
nice.
Club.
Yeah.
They're wonderful, wonderful people. But just different areas that can add, like our eating area, adding some bulbs for the kids. So when it pops up, they have something beautiful to look
some
at while they're
color
having
and that,
some
yeah.
food. Their snack or whatever. So
Well, there's some flowers they could eat. I mean,
you
there's a
can
few
eat,
that
you
are
could
okay
eat.
to
Yes,
do.
you
Yeah.
can eat some food. But yeah, it's been going good. And then we did. We're trying out a different food vendor, which has been great for our lunch program. So we're tweaking that a little bit too. So those are things we're working on right now. Is try to tweak the just service for the kids,
Right.
Because they're getting actually, food that they're getting handed. They get to pick a salad. They
Right,
get to pick all
right.
their items. They get a hamburger that they get to put the sauces on and everything. So we're tweaking that. That's our
Right.
current
Take
thing
some
we're
time. You
working
had to get
on.
that down.
Yeah. So that's our current thing on
Yeah.
our.
All right. And I know, speaking of the food too, your kitchen, you got finished it off.
Yes,
And
I know, it's amazing.
You've been a big proponent of the Food Services JPA and helping as we get all the schools, and we've talked about it before, together for better food in our county. And you're very vocal in that, which I appreciate. And getting us to that goal, which we get a little closer.
We are. We're very lucky to have Sam on board now, which is great.
He's our new director for our Food Services JPA, and has been out to all the schools like yours and seeing what you did with your kitchen and getting it ready to.
It's been great. I'm very excited for the students in Nevada County. I'm very passionate about, obviously, gardening and what we put into our body. So I think it's just going to be fabulous for every student.
It will.
Yeah.
Well, great.
I will say it's gone up a lot, the students getting lunch. We served 120 lunches yesterday.
And you switched vendors this year.
Yes, we did.
You're getting your food now from the Nevada Joint Union High School, correct?
Yeah, so they try to make it as much from scratch.
And they're a little bit more scratch-style cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what we're working for all our schools, but I knew you were ready to make that jump, and you knew the students, so that's exciting.
They're great.
That's good. Well, Katie, anything else before we go? We're right about the end here that you want to say?
This is just amazing. Thank you so much for having me here. It's just.
How about people want to find information? Website.
Come see the school.
Come see the school.
Yes, I love to give tours. I absolutely love it. Yeah, Mount Olive Road. So if you go out 174, we're about 10 to 15 minutes out of town. Not that far.
Never as far as you think. You think it's farther, it's not.
Yeah, it's not very far. And come see us, give us a call, or just swing by. I love giving tours. I really do. And it's a sweet, sweet place if you're interested to look at it and bring your kiddos, or just want to see it because you're curious.
And the website they can go to?
ChicagoParkSchool.org. And there's actually a link to our farm. So if you want to learn about our ag program, you can actually see the pictures and some information about it.
Perfect. And you can always go to my website, ncsos.org. We have links to every one of our schools, and you'd find Chicago Park. Go down there and be able to see all the things.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, Katie, again, thank you so much for spending the time driving that 15 minutes back here to Grass Valley. And you got to turn around and go back. I appreciate it. Not much road work on 174 right now, so you should get through.
It's great.
That's good. You can make a clean run. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
And thanks to our audience. You've been listening to Ed Talk. Take care.